Let me just take a second to mention that you're hearing Gershwin tunes now on a Gibson ES-175 guitar. It's a real vintage 1950 wonderful guitar with a single P90 pickup here. And for you guitar enthusiasts, which is probably all of you out there, ES stood for Electric Spanish, and 175 was what they probably sold for at the beginning. That's pretty amazing. They can't take that away from me. Let me say something first about my left hand. You will see me doing a lot of these funny chords with my thumb on the sixth string. Now, most of those, there are substitute ways of playing them. If you don't like to wrap your thumb around the neck, which some people do and some don't, there's substitute ways of doing them. For instance, if I play a G7 like this, you could do it like this instead. And as you all probably know, there are multiple ways of playing these chords. But that's what I'm comfortable with, so you'll see some of that happening. As far as the right hand is concerned, while I'm singing especially, I'm doing a lot of just time-keeping strumming like this in the typical swing-style strum where you get 1, 2, 1, 2, and you've got, well, if you're counting to 4, the 2 and the 4 are muted, like 1, 2, 3, 4, muted with the left hand. So that's a basic strum, but of course I'm filling in spaces in between the vocals with little arpeggios like this. I'll go, the way you wear your hat. So that was almost a finger-picking thing if you look at my right hand, and the thumb is keeping some bass stuff happening, and the finger is playing the melody. There are other times where I'll just do a little, like arpeggios up and down, like, we may never, never meet again on the bumpy road of love. That kind of stuff. And I'll use as many as 2 or even 3 fingers to get these things going. The other thing is that I never do it the same way twice. So when I slow it down, it may be a little different from what I did the first pass around there. But that's jazz for you. You know, there's an old line about a jazz player saying, you know how people are real spontaneous sometimes in jazz and they don't play the same thing twice? He says, I'm so spontaneous, I never play the same thing once. You're getting a little bit of that here. But what I want to do is slow this down, just the singing part of it, so you get a good look at the chords. I know they're written in your booklet, but it'll be nice to see them slow down a little bit and on a split screen where you can look at what both hands are doing. And then I'll take questions after that. So here's a split screen version of They Can't Take That Away From Me, the vocal part of it. The way you wear your hat, the way you sip your tea, a memory of all that. No, no, they can't take that away from me. The way your smile just beams, the way you sing off key, the way you haunt my dreams. No, no, they can't take that away from me. We may never, never meet again on the bumpy road of love. Still, I'll always keep the memory of the way you hold your knife, the way we danced till 3, the way you changed my life. No, no, they can't take that away from me. No, they can't take that away from me. Now on the solo that I played for this tune, I want to talk about two kinds of embellishment that happen. Because the basic philosophy of chord soloing is that you play a chord with the melody note on top if possible. Because if it's on top, you can harmonize it. For instance, if you're playing a C major 7th, and this is the melody note, then I'll play the chord up to the second string. I won't include the first string. Notes above the melody tend to obscure the melody. But notes below it are great because they harmonize with it, and you get this, you express the chord that's happening at any given point in the tune. So all along through any of the solos of these tunes, I'll basically be hitting the chord that has the right melody note on top, hopefully on the second or first strings. Sometimes the melody goes way down, and I'll have to go down to the third or fourth strings, which limits how much harmonization you can do underneath that. So you try to voice the tunes in a key where there will be keep that to a minimum. Now, once you've oh, by the way, sometimes the melody note isn't right within the chord, it's right next to it. I may be on a C major 7th, but the melody note might be here. It's going to be somewhere where you can reach it easily, because that's the way I've arranged the thing. And that's what you do in a chord solo. There are two kinds of embellishment that are happening throughout this. Sometimes you'll sit on a chord for a minute. For instance, I'll sit on this D minor 7th chord, and there's a pause in between the vocals, so I'll do some kind of little arpeggio or little figure that's based on this chord. You can see I'm just doing a figure that I can reach from that chord position. Like I'll go, the way you sip your tea. That was just an arpeggio. But there are other times when you sit on a chord and it would be boring to stay on that chord for a long time, so you actually embellish by adding chords to the basic chord structure of the tune. For instance, in this song it goes, the way you wear your hat, instead of just strumming the C for a couple of bars, I do that diatonically ascending chord progression, which will all be written out for you in your book, and which I'll slow down in a minute and you'll get a better look at it. But I'm basically going up the scale, up the C scale, and adding and playing a chord for each one of those bass notes, like so. So that's kind of not just embellishing a chord with notes around the chord, but adding other chords that weren't there in the beginning of the basic chord progression. That happens a lot in this style of guitar playing. I think what I want to do now is split the screen for you, and you can watch all of that kind of stuff in action on the solo too. They can't take that away from me.